thieves are actually giving Samsung phones back to victims, which sounds like a silly story, but brings up a concerning issue with the resale value of Android phones in general. Meanwhile, we've got our first look at the Galaxy Buds 4 Pro, and they are a complete redesign from the previous generation. Finally, the Pixel 10 Pro series just got a big win with Wi-Fi speed tests, pulling ahead of the iPhone in some key metrics. I'm C. Scott Brown, and it's time for a quick roundup of the biggest tech news that you need to know about. Our first story today revolves around theft. Smartphone theft is a huge problem everywhere in the world, but it's a significant issue in London. The UK's Metropolitan Police report that over 117,000 phones were stolen in the city in 2024 alone, which is crazy. The police don't keep a record of which phone brands were stolen, but a feature article in a blog called London Centric had some anecdotal evidence that should be pretty alarming to us Android fans. According to the article, multiple people report situations in which smartphone thieves will actually ditch or even return Samsung phones after stealing them. One person profiled is a 32-year-old Londoner named Sam. According to Sam, an 8-man mob swarmed him in the city, taking his Galaxy phone, his camera, and even his beanie hat. However, after the robbery, one thief turned around and handed Sam's phone right back. As Sam put it, London thieves don't want no Samsung. Crazily enough, the thieves kept his camera and his hat. Is a beanie hat more valuable than a Galaxy phone? Sam's situation isn't an isolated incident either. Another smartphone theft victim named Mark saw a bike-riding thief grab a Samsung phone from his hands. After riding a short distance away, the thief promptly dumped the phone onto the ground. Mark told London Centric, "If anything, I feel a bit rejected," which is possibly the most quintessential British response to any situation. While these situations might seem humorous, they do represent two very significant problems. First, smartphone theft is out of control, especially in London, so something needs to be done about that. Obviously, people need to take some level of responsibility by trying to keep their phone secure and safe, but we can't just say don't use your phone in public because then the thieves win. I don't know what the solution is here. Harsher punishments for the theft? More resources devoted to apprehending suspects? Whatever it is, this is clearly a major problem. The second thing this story illuminates is that the world of Android has a resale value problem. This isn't news to most people watching this, I'm sure, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, Android phones as a whole lose their resale value much, much faster than iPhones. This is probably the main reason why the thieves toss away Samsung phones. It's not that they don't like them, but more that iPhones will fetch a better price on the secondary market. So, wasting time with Samsung phones isn't worth the effort. This is a strange situation because Android phones cost just as much as iPhones. In fact, top-tier Android phones can blow way past the prices of iPhones, even the pro-level models. But once that Android phone becomes old hat, the secondhand price plummets, whereas iPhones tend to stay much higher. Why this happens is murky. The fact that all iPhones receive software support for many years is probably a factor. iPhone users who aren't tech savvy and think that an iPhone is an iPhone probably contribute to it as well. Ease of access to Apple stores for support likely make people more comfortable buying secondhand iPhones too. There are a whole lot of things here, but the consumer perception is that an iPhone ages like fine wine and Android phones age like milk. I don't agree with that. I'm a lifelong Android user after all, but thieves certainly agree with it, and they are at the forefront of the secondhand market. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. What do you think Android manufacturers can do to alter their perception that iPhones age better and retain their value for longer? I'm excited to hear your potential solutions. Speaking of Samsung, our next story today is about a leak of Samsung's upcoming high-end earbuds. Last summer, Samsung launched the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro, and the design was a bit divisive. First, they abandoned the core look of Galaxy Buds by introducing a stem, making them look closer to Apple AirPods than ever before. Second, they had a light bar that some people loved and others hated, with the needless battery drain and "look at me" energy just not appealing to a lot of customers. Third, the earbuds had a jagged, angular design that probably sounded good in the design stage, but just makes them look a bit strange in real life. Well, we've now got a leak of the follow-up, which we're tentatively calling the Galaxy Buds 4 Pro. These leaks come from early looks at the upcoming One UI 8.5 release. The good news here is that if you hated the light bar, it appears Samsung is dropping that attribute. The earbuds are also getting a redesign that makes them look much less jagged than the Buds 3 Pro, although they still do look a lot like AirPods. The case is also getting a redesign. The earbuds lay flat inside the case instead of dropping into it vertically. This makes the case more like older Galaxy Buds cases, which I certainly don't hate. The case also appears to have a speaker on it. Although we have not seen any proof of what this speaker does, my guess is that it will sound out alert tones if you're trying to find it, making it easier to pinpoint its location in your couch cushions. Unfortunately, we're missing 3 big pieces of info here. The first is what the non-Pro Galaxy Buds 4 will look like. If you remember, the Galaxy Buds 3 looked very similar to the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro, although color options differed. Will Samsung do the same thing with this next generation? Also, when will these come out? The Buds 3 series landed in July 2024, but we are obviously way past that in 2025. Our guess is that these will launch alongside the Galaxy S26 series early next year, but that would be a big change up, as the last time Samsung launched earbuds with a Galaxy S phone was way back in 2021 with the Galaxy S21 series. Of course, the final piece of the puzzle will be pricing. The Galaxy Buds 3 Pro started at a whopping $250, which is quite a lot. Will Samsung keep the same price or go even higher? Time will tell on that one, so stay tuned. Our final story of the day is about the Pixel 10 series and the Wi-Fi modem connected to the Tensor G5 chipset. According to data from Ookla, the Pixel 10 series recorded the fastest global median Wi-Fi download speeds, beating out everyone else, but most notably beating the new chip inside the iPhone 17 family. So this news requires a little background. The modem with Tensor G5 is the same Samsung-made modem that appeared in Tensor G4, the chip inside the Pixel 9 series. When we found out the modem wasn't changing, we asked Google why. It said that it did do some software optimization to make the modem work better. We were disappointed there wasn't new hardware, but that was that. This data from Ookla that was crowdsourced from users all over the world for 6 weeks after the launch of the iPhone 17 series strongly suggests that Google did make some sort of software enhancements to the modem. According to Ookla, the Pixel 10 Pro saw a median global speed of 335 megabits per second, a significant lead over the iPhone 17, which clocked in at 329 megabits per second. However, it wasn't a complete win for Google when compared to the iPhone 17. Ookla notes that in the 10th percentile download speeds, Apple takes the global lead at 56 megabits per second, beating the Pixel 10 Pro's 53 megabits. Essentially, that means that in the worst connectivity situations, the iPhone might be more reliable in those challenging moments. To Apple's credit, these numbers are significant jumps when compared to older iPhones. Before the iPhone 17 series, the majority of iPhones used modems from Broadcom, but now the iPhone 17 models and the iPhone 16e use an in-house modem Apple calls the N1. According to Ookla data, the iPhone 17 series improved by up to 40% compared to the mainline iPhone 16 family. So, congrats on that, Apple. There's one more interesting thing about this data, which is that the Xiaomi 15T Pro is the star of top-end performance. That phone saw the best speeds when conditions were the best, with a whopping 887 megabits per second in peak download speeds. That's really interesting because that phone has a MediaTek modem, and guess what modem is probably coming with the Pixel 11 series? That's right, MediaTek. We don't know that for sure, obviously, but that could mean even better news for connectivity for Pixels next year. Anyway, that's it for this roundup. If you want to dive deeper into these stories, be sure to check all the links down below. Remember to like and subscribe so you'll be notified as soon as the next roundup goes live. See you all soon.